So here's just some video of us plowing our garden. This is a garden we put a lot of sawdust on a couple years back, so we've really not been growing much in it because it's not had the nutrients. But now that our sawdust is starting to break down, turn more into compost, I wanted to kind of plow that in and incorporate it into our dirt, and also cut down on some of the grass and open it up to get air and soak up some moisture, just lay by over the winter. We thought about trying to tarp the whole thing, but it's probably a little bigger than we've got enough tarp to do the whole thing, so we might do some of the more problem spots that had a lot of Bermuda grass and such in it. You can see it's rather wet. It's held a lot of moisture. We've not had a lot of rain this fall, but you can tell by the tractor tires they're turning up water that we've had lots of water retention in that soil after we put the sawdust down. After I opened this up, our chickens really took to it, scratching around, I'm sure gathering up insects and worms and just kind of dusting themselves off in the new ground, exploring. I forgot to get any video of them out on it playing. This tractor is an old 720 LP John Deere that I got, and then me and my dad, we worked on it and got it running. It was completely locked up. Took us over a week to get the motor done locked, and then we redone, put new plugs, wires, eventually rebuilt the distributor and put it back on points, but it wouldn't really, it was all the time causing problems, so we converted it to electronic ignition, so it'd start every time that we went to start it. Had to retime it when we done that, but it's just a Teotronics electronic ignition off of Amazon. Really works really well. This tractor, like I say, is LP gas. We've got propane heat, and I've got a hose, what they call a nurse kit, on that tank that allows me to fill the tractor. You can see I've got the hood off. I'd been greasing the front end and cleaning out the radiator and such. It had a bird's nest or two up in the fan shroud. You can see this old plow I bought at a farm auction for like $75. You can see it's doing a really good job of opening up the soil and turning that over. Like I say, the tractor, with it being as wet as it is, had a little bit of trouble pulling it, and I was probably trying to plow a little too deep for the first pass. You can see out of the yard there, the Bermuda grass is really trying to kind of encroach out into the garden. You notice I'm not plowing past the fence post that's kind of at the edge in the middle of the garden there. That's actually going to be a cross fence. The beehives are actually in our orchard. There's a lot of fruit trees, young fruit trees planted up there. We got pear, apple, peach. Our plums are planted in the backyard. We also got some pecans that was planted in the yard. But, that'll be a lot of pears and apples and peaches up in that area. We also plan on using that for a breeder yard for our Blue Lace Red Wyandotte chickens. Our New Hampshire Reds actually run behind our goats to help break down the manure, helping break that worm cycle. You can see it struggled quite a bit cutting that Bermuda grass. Couldn't plow quite as deep. You can see a pile of tarps there in front of the tractor that we plan on using to cover part of that up, try to break that Bermuda grass down. There to the left of the tractor, as we come up through there, that's our oldest apple trees you can see standing there. Those trees are about 3 or 4 years old. The rest of them we planted this year and last year. This is our last pass. This has got a lot of Bermuda grass up on this edge, or maybe this is my next to last pass, but lots of Bermuda grass up in that area. But you can see very rich topsoil and organic material there up on top from that sawdust breaking down. You can see the plow's not really wanting to break that Bermuda. So I'm going to try to incorporate some blood meal into this to help bring up the nitrogen levels, and like I say, really try to get the chickens out on it to help with some nitrogen.